Hey everyone, and welcome back to X Marathon, the series where we cover all of the X-Men movies and TV shows, or TV show at the very least. With me today, I have.
Hi, it's me, Emily. You may know me from the other ones of these videos. If you haven't watched those videos, go watch them and then come back and watch this one, or watch this one first and then go watch those ones. But watch them. I'm not a shill. It's important to catch you up on the lore. Anyways, hi, I'm Emily. I'm on these videos.
And I'm Joelle. I've been on a few of these videos, but haven't been on in a while, so yeah.
And today we're going to be talking about the soft reboot, I want to say, of the X-Men franchise.
I'd say more prequel, but kind of a reboot a little bit.
We'll discuss this. We are talking about X-Men First Class.
Yay! A movie that's good.
Finally.
We haven't had one of those since the video before the last one.
God, this film is so fun.
Fucking awesome.
I love this movie. Yeah, a film's so good it makes me forget that this is the same director of Argyle.
One bad movie does not a director make. I have liked a fair amount of Matthew Vaughn's stuff. I've also disliked a fair amount of his stuff, but I've liked a fair amount of his stuff.
I'll say this is probably his best film.
Yeah, 100%. That's not in contention.
Yeah, no, this film is fucking awesome, man. It's stylish, really good dialogue, really good characterizations, fun action sequences, great character.
I do want to fight whoever did costuming. It took me out. It all looked like 2010s.
Interesting. Okay, well.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I have some news for you about when the movie was made.
Yes, but it was set in the 60s.
Yeah.
Oh, that is true. Yeah.
They make a big point.
That's my thing.
Apparently,
Considering we have so many references for 60s clothing in general, it would have been so easy. However, I will take that away. It is a good movie.
I will say, if you want to see a video of them breaking down all of the historical inaccuracies, watch New Rockstar's video for this. There's one point where you see a bowl of M&Ms and there's blue ones there. And apparently, they're not supposed to be there.
Yeah, because blue ones weren't originally part of the M&Ms. Yeah.
Yep. But I'm gonna be real. All that little stuff kind of doesn't really matter to me that much. Only because I think they generally get the vibe of the 60s down pretty well. And this isn't real world 60s. This is sci-fi James Bond era 60s kind of things. And this film is heavily inspired by James Bond films of that era. Specifically Dr. No.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's part of what you get when you have Matthew Vaughn, famously guy who went on to make a bunch of spy movies of varying quality.
Yep. My favorite parts of this film, I guess we could just start this off, is a Magneto Nazi hunter. That's probably the best stuff in this film. Well, actually, no. There's a lot of really good stuff, but even.
I mean, I am going to argue that of this entire continuity, I think that the way Magneto is done is just fucking perfection.
Oh,
I've said it in basically all the other reviews, but I mean, look, is Michael Fassbender a good person? Probably not. Alleged that he is not. I don't know if those allegations were ever confirmed, but I would like to clarify that if Michael Fassbender did do that shit, I'm not rocking with Michael Fassbender. However, he did do fantastic in these movies as Magneto. His interpretation of Magneto is my favorite interpretation of Magneto. It is so good, and First Class is no exception to that. It's fucking awesome.
We will not give him the coveted "fuck you" just yet.
Just yet. Not until I can confirm whether or not he did that shit, which I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll let the proper authorities deal with that. But until then, dude, he fucking rocks as Magneto in this film. Oh my god, Ian McKellen served cunt. This guy is just a walking, I'm just gonna say it, sex symbol. He plays sexy Magneto really well. Just unintentionally sexy too, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that scene with Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh well.
No, that is true.
You knew what they were doing.
That's true. What I love about his characterization in this film is at the beginning you're totally on board with he's killing Nazis, but the moment he finds out that there's others like him, his entire world just kind of opens up to this big picture ideal, and this is the first time he's actually had family, quote unquote, in a long time because again they were ripped away from him, and as you see in this film, like killed right in front of him. So the moment he gets like a little taste of family back into his life, you start to see like the screws and like the gears turning in his head of like, well, these people are being persecuted just like how I was. I can't let that happen. I love getting to see his arc throughout this film. And it's a very subtle, very well done arc that by the point you get to the end of this film and he is on that beach, it makes sense why he's doing these things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It also makes sense why Mystique goes with him rather than staying with the X-Men.
Yeah. I think Jennifer Lawrence does okay as Mystique in this film. I think for the role that she plays of like the person that's caught in between both Charles and Magneto's points of view makes a lot of sense. Like I get why she's like this because she's also like the most physically different looking mutant like out there. She's always having to hide herself, so the moment she can, express herself freely in all sense of the words, she goes for it. And someone that actually likes her for the way that she looks like, yeah, of course she would go with Magneto.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know we're talking about Magneto a lot, but I also got to say, like, I really like James McAvoy's interpretation of Charles in this film. Getting to see the Playboy party head like version of Charles Xavier, like the guy who's always like hitting on girls in the bar, like the one that's like just really smooth. But the moment he like meets Eric, you see shades of that Professor X that you know and love of that person who's just very wise and wants to help people and tries to like be this like very big picture, like why don't we try to like help everyone and try to like integrate and live with humans and not try to like be better than. Again, like both these characters' arcs throughout this film happen at the same time and at the same pace, but end up in completely different directions, and it makes sense.
I mean, I always love, and again, I do think that this comes up more in later films, but I've always appreciated how well McAvoy was able to capture this sort of side of Charles that's like, no, he wasn't like super happy, perfect person. Like in a lot of ways, he does have a lot of dark sort of emotions, or emotions that are more complicated than him just being like the persistently wise old man who kind of knows what's going on. And I think Stewart captures that as well, but there's something about McAvoy's performance where I feel like that element of it is so magnetic. And I just think it works really well.
I think it's the age. Because when it's like Patrick Stewart's age, like an older man, his performance comes off as more of as someone who has seen everything, and this is where he is at this point in life and why he thinks this way. But with McAvoy, he looks younger, he acts younger, so he's going through all these things as they happen. So you get to see those emotions that you're talking about in real time. So that's why I think that is the case for why he has these like instances of like moral grayety, like just like not completely black or white, just this interesting middle ground.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
God, those two just carry this film. Like,
yeah.
Like, Joelle, is there anything you have to say? Because I know I'm really talking over everybody.
I really liked how they interacted in this film. Fassbender and McAvoy. Thank you. Because they had a really good dynamic. I was always just a little bit thrown off by how the ages looked and how they were interpreted. Like between those two, as well as between Professor X and Mystique, because they seemed fairly close in age when they met in this film, and then they seemed close in age near the end, but it always seemed like Professor X was always just like, oh yeah, no, I definitely know better, I'm a lot more mature than you are, you don't really know anything, that sort of vibe. And that's why I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that, but
I mean, I would argue, but maybe this is just my interpretation of the character, I do think that sort of mindset of like knowing better than other people, or at least feeling like he does, is kind of endemic to Charles. And we will see at a later film in this continuity, Dark Phoenix 2019, which I guess I'm just constantly bringing up for some reason. That movie does feature this as one of Charles's sort of biggest like character flaws. I mean, it is the crux of how that movie criticizes him, is that he goes to the point, he takes that extension of how he treats Mystique and a lot of other people of like, I know best, I'm doing what's best for everyone, and takes it to the logical extent of that going into him violating the autonomy of other people for the purpose of him feeling like he knows better.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know how much of it is an age thing and how much of it is this is how we're choosing to make Charles, let's say, more flawed, or at least engage with the fact that he is very far from a perfect character. And so I did appreciate seeing that mindset appear in this movie, because I do, at least in how I've always looked at Charles, I do feel like it's so important to highlight with him.
Yeah, otherwise you get this very much not quite overpowered, but kind of overpowered, and very much like the one character that knows what's going on and knows how to fix everything, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I also like about this film is that you get a lot of B-tier X-Men characters.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you get Banshee, Havoc, for the little bit, Darwin that's in it.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to talk about characters who get arbitrarily mishandled in this movie...
Yeah, Darwin...
Yeah.
I get why they did it, because it's like, that character's, like, intentionally, like, broken. Like just game-breaking. So, to them, to just kind of like, we're just gonna have him in there and just use him as the way to make the villain look even more threatening. I get it, but I could see why a lot of fans were pissed off.
Yeah. This is gonna say a lot about me, probably. I started watching First Class, right? And we're going, and we meet Alex, and we get like a few seconds of actually like seeing his face, and I'm like, he looks really familiar. Mm-hmm. Why does he look so familiar? Where have I seen him before? Mm-hmm. It's about 5 minutes in, and then I'm like, wait, I need to go IMDb something. Mm-hmm. And then I look it up. My first memory of seeing this man is in the Taylor Swift You Belong With Me music video.
What?
Yeah. And he's like the guy next door in that one. Yeah. And that is, yeah, I don't know what that says about me, but that is how I recognize that actor.
I thought you were going to be like, oh yeah, he's from that TV show, that reboot of MacGyver, or something like that.
Nope.
Taylor Swift music video.
Anyways, back to X-Men. So
yeah, I thought it was really interesting that they had Havoc date Taylor Swift. I thought that was a really bold choice, very inventive.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Especially when she's a minor.
I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I know it was the '60s, but it makes him a really unlikable character.
Speaking of like people acting like minors, that one scene where they're all just chilling, hanging out, and they're like, "Oh yeah, they're kids. How old are they supposed to be?
I know.
Does anyone know?"
I know.
Those are full-grown adults.
I think they're like 20.
Or at least like.
They better not be kids, because one of them's a full-on stripper too. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Like if they're talking. Like,
I mean, again, it was the '60s, but.
Yeah. Well. Shit.
Yikes.
Not saying that's a good thing. I'm saying it was. I'm not supporting child sex. That's not what's going on here.
We are not doing this. We're
Here at Milliken Tyler Media, we do not support child sex.
Yeah. Just don't do it. Say no.
Also, the one where they're catcalled, kind of, through the window.
That doesn't make any sense.
No sense whatsoever. I'm like, who are those people? Why are they there? Why is this their attitude?
These are CIA agents, not like high school, college bullies. Like
exactly.
It didn't make any sense to me. I guess it's just ultimately to like show that like no matter like how comfortable they are being like in this moment with each other, there's this always looming threat of like the bigot that is humanity.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it there, but it just also doesn't make any sense for like these full-grown like mid-40s CIA agents to kind of be like, hey, show us your feet. Actually,
Yeah.
now that I say it out loud, that is kind of how we are today.
Yeah, we just do it online.
They have apps for that.
Go to the $1 Million Media Patreon.
Yeah, we will show you our feet.
Do not go to the $1 Million Media Patreon for that.
Look, if you pay us, I don't know, what's a fair price, Max? $2,000 a month
Oh.
for the feet tier.
Oh, I'm gonna do that.
No.
I'm doing that. But no, yeah, like I do agree that scene makes no sense. But like the other scenes with like the young X-Men team that I do like is just when they're training at the X Mansion, really getting to see the First Class in action, just like learn how to use their powers in creative ways. Like I love the idea of like, hey, this kid can scream really loud. Let's throw him off a building and see if he can fly.
That was objectively one of the funniest scenes.
Just like, I don't know, we could try it.
Just like jumps him off the satellite ish. Yeah.
I love the part where he's just like, "What? You thought of it too?"
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like that scene. The way they end the training montage off with like Charles accessing like a very dormant, happy memory in Eric's mind is just really, just a really sweet scene. And it also now recontextualizes every moment in the original trilogy, like when he's doing like these big like moments of like lifting big shit. You can think of his mind like, oh, that's how he can do this now. It's like he's at peace at this moment or something like that. Like it's an interesting way to like recontextualize like a lot of things. Like everything that this film does, for the most part, is what all prequels should do. And like not like answer every single question about this person's backstory, but just show characters and story that we heard of in the original films and just have it play out to a natural degree.
Yeah.
Like we don't like the thing that I am honestly shocked at that they didn't do in this film that I think nowadays they would have is they would have shaved his head.
Right. I think that does happen in one of the later prequel movies.
But that's like movie 3 down the line. At least in this trilogy. Like I am honestly shocked, like, because nowadays we have like every little thing explained down to like how do you get this specific wheelchair? How did he get the olive green suit and the striped tie? Like just all that unnecessary shit. Like this film is just like we're just gonna explain how he lost his legs.
Yeah, I think this movie trusts us to assume that like Charles could have gone to like, I don't know, a Men's Warehouse, and that's where he got the olive green suit. Like
nowadays, like movies like a Solo, like they explain every single freaking detail about the character that happened, and I guess like every big important thing that you see in that first film with Han Solo was explained in about, I don't know, the span of like a couple days.
Yeah.
Like in this, it's just like, okay, well, we want to tell the story about how he lost his legs, or at least this is how he lost his legs. That's it. And to make it like this big important thing of like how these friends ultimately like separate, it's really tragic. And just how happenstance it is in the finale, just like him just blocking the bullet and it just curves and hits him in the back.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
So that scene kind of ticked me off a little bit. Okay. How Charles put all of the blame on Eric for his injury when the bullet would not have even been in motion without Moira.
Well,
shooting at Eric.
I think there's two reasons why he was putting the blame on Eric. One, to make him stop going after humans for like a second, because like keep in mind this was also during the point where he's about to like throw all those missiles back, which by the way, my favorite scene in all of the X-Men films. The line leading up to like those are just good men following orders, and like I've been at the mercy of men following orders, and just throws them right back. Like holy shit, great moment. But so in that moment he's like trying to like put the focus back on like Eric himself. Like no, she didn't do this, you did it, because like she was trying to stop you from killing thousands of innocent soldiers and people just quote unquote following orders. That's why it's his fault. And also you can also think of it like he's in a lot of pain and he's just thinking about the person who did it. Like, like I guess maybe not a lot of pain because he can't feel his legs, but you know, getting shot in the lower spine, it's gotta hurt in some way. So that's
I also think part of it is the fact that, again, I feel like Charles in this movie is not meant to be an infallible pillar of like logic and morality, which I appreciated. Like, yeah, he's angry at Charles, or he's angry at Eric, but he's like kind of wrong for being angry at Eric, at least on some level. Like, I think that I've said this before, but I do think this movie takes such a sympathetic perspective to why Magneto might do the things that he does, that the movie actually leaves it open as a question as to whether or not like Magneto is quote unquote right or like redeemable or good, you know? And I feel like part of that is it's like, yeah, Charles kind of has this sort of anger for Eric that, you know, there were other factors at play there, but he really fixates on this one because he can't accept that Eric and him are that different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's very interesting. I find it interesting.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that I kind of find a little bit interesting is how when we leave that first split between the X-Men and... Are they still going by the Hellfire Club at that point, or are they the Brotherhood?
I think they're the Brotherhood, because I think the Hellfire
Okay.
Club officially died with Sebastian. I almost said Sebastian Stan. Sebastian Shaw.
Okay.
Which...
Because they kept all of the members of the Hellfire Club that survived, so that's why I asked. Anyways, all of the women with powers ended up with Magneto, and
Well, I mean...
the only woman left over with the X-Men was Moira at that point. I think we are back to our previous point about sexy Magneto.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, man, but like, Charles still has that one really cool woman that pals around with him until he, like, wipes her mind.
She's a Fed, though.
Yeah. Yeah, feds don't count. Feds don't count. They told me this.
All right. I just have a couple quick things because we're talking a lot about the main. I mean, it is part of the big part of this movie is that relationship between those two characters. But I do want to talk about other characters. Like, I do really like Kevin Bacon as this like swinging '60s like villain who's like all the power in the world and just trying to manipulate the situation behind the scenes. I think he does a really good job as Sebastian Shaw. Now, I don't know much about the character from the comics, so I don't even know if his powers are right or if this is like the right interpretation or anything in general about the character. So, but for the movie itself, I really liked it. Yeah, and I think he plays such a like charismatic bad guy to the point when you see the coin go through his head, it's so satisfying.
Yeah, that human arcade machine.
Everybody hated that, but also kind of loved that. Fun fact, I think that was the first snippet of any X-Men film that I ever watched was just the coin going through his head.
Yeah, I remember being caught so off guard by that when I first watched this movie.
Me too.
I was like, oh, I didn't know that they were allowed to do that, but fuck yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah. It's so satisfying though. It's also not that bloody, but just the implication of a coin being driven through someone's head. And the only one in that situation that can actually experience the pain is Charles because he's connected to that guy at that moment.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
Which I thought was a portrayal when they kept switching back and forth.
Oh yeah.
With those angles. Fantastic.
Loved it. Just absolutely like probably one of like the in my top 10 of villain deaths of all time. Like that is just incredible. Like especially the significance of that coin too. Like perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And the fact that he kept it on him with this very thing in mind.
Oh yeah, exactly.
We love a good revenge plot.
Oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And one that like ends up in a happy ending somewhat.
Yeah.
He got everybody.
Yeah.
The only people that were left were like once he's done, he's like, okay, well, my entire like life mission is done. I'm just gonna focus on the preservation of my kind.
Mm-hmm.
Loved it. I guess I just have a couple things that I want to say about like this is the film that kind of fucked everything up continuity-wise.
Is it?
Well, like at the beginning of Last Stand, we see Charles and Eric as like older than they are here, still together.
Yeah, that's true. That kind of threw me off.
That's a pretty big one.
That is a pretty big one, but consider.
Okay.
This gives me the opportunity to imagine a world where X-Men: The Last Stand is a movie I don't have to take seriously.
All right. Well, yep, true. All right, I'm gonna stop now.
Sounds like a better world.
Yeah, like legitimately, They do Dark Phoenix stuff in this continuity, so, like, I can pretend. I could simply live in a world where none of that shit happens.
I also think, like, well, here's the thing I have to say as well. Like, down the line, like, this is the film where they start really not caring about, like, how everything lines up timeline-wise. Like, the first three tried to keep to, like, this continuity that they had. After that, they were like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, as of Days of Future Past, I think they officially give up.
Yeah, they were like, we're done. There's too many movies. It's too much. Fuck it.
Yeah. And hey,
Yeah.
I get it. That makes sense.
I get it, but if this is the reason why I think it's really hard to get people into the X-Men movies, because at a point, like, all the effort of, like, trying to understand where everybody is at one point just kind of gets, like, it doesn't really become a big idea. So I always just say, look, just watch the films. Don't think about it too hard. Otherwise, you're just going to get a big headache.
I appreciate the fact that this kind of lines up with the way comics tell their stories, and that things arbitrarily shift in and out of canon with no regard for what was previously said. Are Wolverine and Sabretooth brothers? Sure, right now they are. Tomorrow? Who the fuck knows?
Oh, speaking of Wolverine real quick, though, love the cameo.
Yeah.
Wait, this is his go fuck yourself.
Yep, great cameo. Great cameo. Hey, there we go. That's where we get our fuck you in the film. In the review.
Yeah, fuck you, Charles.
On that note, is there anything else you guys want to say about this film before we wrap it up?
Not really.
Okay, it is making me want to kind of, like, use that one scene out of First Class and then tie it all together with The Greatest Showman, just because there are those parallel scenes in the bar. Alternate universe of the X-Men universe is The Greatest Showman.
Excuse me, I'm Eric Lensher.
Sounds Xavier.
Go fuck yourself.
Right here, right now, I put the offer out. I don't wanna chase you down. I know you see it. You run with me, and I can catch you free.
Listen, so many things have been retconned. We might as well just start adding things.
Oh my god, it's a variant of Wolverine who started a circus.
Oh no, his relationship with the mutants was way different.
The bearded lady was a mutant this entire time? Oh my god, I just fucking knew it.
Yeah, she actually just had the X gene.
Why is MJ cheating on Spider-Man with Zac Efron?
God.
The X-Men continuity makes no sense.
Okay, in the Greatest Showman universe, though, Zac Efron is actually Spider-Man.
Oh, so
Pre-power.
that explains why they're swinging around.
Uh-huh, exactly.
Yeah.
Alright, we made it connect. Here, folks. Eat your heart out, Deadpool 3, and however you may do in your multiverse. Yeah, but in the meantime, thank you guys for watching this video. We had a lot of fun, clearly.
Too much fun?
Not enough fun, in my opinion. Please like this video if you want to see Wolverine run a circus and cheat on his wife.
Subscribe for Zac Efron to be featured in the next Spider-Verse film.
Yep.
Yeah. Beyond the Efron verse.
Oh my god. Oh my god. We got our next video.
Don't get me started on that.
Our next video is going to be us covering Days of Future Past. Can't wait to cover that film. That might be my favorite X-Men film, but we'll get to that when we talk about it. I haven't seen it in a while.
Share this video so that we can keep making videos like it, and subscribe to our Patreon if you want to pay us to keep making videos like this, or if you want to see our feet. You'd have to pay us a lot of money, but it is possible.
There is a possibility.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Hit the bell icon to be sure that you don't miss any future X videos that we release.
All right, that's all we got to say. Thank you guys for listening. I'm Max Kellerhalls.
I'm Joelle.
I'm Emily.
And yeah, thank you for watching this video. I hope you have a good day. Bye.